Hi, Neil here with Covers Camo, your source for custom seat covers. Today we're doing the install on the 2014 Ford F-150. We're going to walk you through all the steps for the front and back on this crew cab. It's an awesome looking set with the black perforated Sof-Touch simulated leather for the insert and Muddy Girl camo for the trim. Let's do this. So we're getting started on this install, 2014 Ford F-150, front bucket seats with a hard console right here. And first thing I want to talk to you about is this hard console. This one has elastics around the side hemmed into the cover. So you're just going to need to make sure you cap it over each side like that. And once you have those four corners capped, you're going to take the Velcro right here and you just stretch that across and just stick it together right there. And that's pretty simple install on this hard console. Again, you just got to stretch that over. It's going to cap. The initial hardest part is kind of capping these four corners, just holding it, and it could be helpful if you have two people to kind of hold it together. Now, big thing to orient this is the elastic on the front right there. Okay, so that's going to be your front side of the hard console. Okay, now we're ready to move on to the driver's seat. Now we're working on the driver back seat here. Again, the seats in this Ford F-150 are two bucket seats with the hard console between them. Now we just did that hard console seat there. And now the main thing you're gonna need to do on this driver backrest before you get started is remove the headrest. And to do that, you just press the two buttons on the sides right there. You just squeeze those in and take that off, because the first thing that we're gonna do is this driver backrest. On some of the newer vehicles, there's a modified install where we'll do the bottom first, but on this truck, we're gonna do the backrest first. I'm gonna check to make sure there's nothing in the back pocket right there. Just did a quick check there because this is gonna cover over the pockets. I'm gonna start pulling this on top of the seat here. Now this is gonna have felt on the front right here, and it's go back around to the back side to Velcro back there. What we're gonna do is kind of line up these shoulders right there, and then you're gonna take the plastic trim tool that comes with the covers, and you take this trim tool and work it around this headrest piece. It's this plastic piece that goes around with a headrest post right there. Okay. And I always do this side first, so then it's not catching as I'm trying to pull it over, and also to protect that push piece right there. So I just pop that one over on that side first right there. Okay. Okay, now what we're gonna do is take the front of this cover and push this through the seat. And what you can do is you're gonna work this through, and really the spot where you get the most space right here, you'll notice, is when the seat is the farthest, the backrest part of the seat is farthest forward. Okay, that's going to create a little bit more gap in that seat for you to push through right there. Out of this entire install, the time that you may want to wear gloves is this right here, because you're pushing through a pretty tight spot, and it can rub against the skin of your hands and kind of bruise that up a little bit. So I like to wear gloves for that piece. Throughout the rest of the install, not as critical, but that's definitely one that I like to wear gloves for. Okay, so I got that pulled through right there. Now, what I'll do is just kind of make sure this is pulled around, and I'll show you on this other side here soon how to do this airbag attachment on the outside here. Now we're going to move around to the back, and I'll show you how to attach up the back. I've pushed this felt through from the front side, and now we're going to take this felt and attach it to the Velcro that's right down here. Okay, so we're going to attach these two, and what you want to do is give it a nice pull, and you could even have someone on the front side of the seat pushing the front side, kind of compressing it down a little bit more. But I'll just give it a nice even pull. You try to give it an even pull where you're not pulling one side more than the other, so that way you don't get it pulled too tight on one side. And then what you'll do is you'll take this belt, pull that nice and tight, and then stick that Velcro down right there. Okay. So like that, now we got that Velcro stuck on that back, and now we're gonna do the airbag attachment on this side right here, and I'll show you that. These seats are airbag compatible, and here's the airbag breakaway section. So we just need to make sure that we're attaching up these tabs on the outside right here. And again, if these tabs need to be, or this part of the seat needs to be oriented towards the outside of your seat. If you are doing this install and you find your tabs towards the inside of your seat on the other side over here, then you have the passenger cover on the driver, and you need to reverse it. So it's going to be, again, these tabs are on the outside of your seat. That's the airbag section. And now we're just going to try to smooth this out on the front side a little bit more. And now we're going to do the driver bottom section. Backrest is done. Now we have the driver bottom cover, and first thing that I'm going to do is untie these strings that are tied up during shipping to make sure that they don't slide through the seat during shipping. And so I got those untied. Now this slot right here, that's for your seat belt attachment section down here. So that's going to need a flip around or slide around that piece right there. Okay. The other thing I'm going to do is start to orient this on, curve this over. Now this is our driver's side pistol holster right there. That'll be nice for that customer to slide their pistol in right there, or it can be used as a cell phone slot. Okay, so I'm just getting these corners on, and now I'll actually have you come around to the other side and we'll show you how to tuck in this fabric into this plastic trim over here. So there's this fabric on the outside right here, and what you need to do is take your trim tool, your white trim tool that comes with the covers, and you're going to tuck that in like that, right there. Okay. And then just kind of get that cover oriented, right? And this string on this particular truck is not too bad to pass through. Some trucks are a little bit harder, but this one actually just goes right in between the seat cushion and the plastic right here. And so if I just pass that through, it's kind of a tight spot to show you on the camera, but I'm just going to pass that string through right here, and then get it on the other side down here, and then that's going to end up tying to the other string on the other side behind there. Okay, now the next step is we need to pass this piece through the crevice in the seat right there. And again, to do that, we want to create the most space possible, and so we're going to move the seat back as far forward as possible to create a little bit more space right there, and then we're going to push that through. Okay, now what we're doing is passing this through here. Now this part can be helpful if you have, whoops, hit one of those buttons over here and moved it. It can be helpful if you have another person, your best bud on the other side there, to kind of pull some of this forward. And if you're just by yourself, what you can do is just get it started, push as much as you can through right there. And it can be helpful too if you want to reduce some of the friction. You can use some plastic and put it in here, and then kind of slide it through that plastic as well. I find that if you just push that through and you have that seat back all the way forward, you can typically get it through without it, but there's some other little tricks that we can give you if you need a little bit more help on getting it through on your seat. Okay, so I got that through right there. Now what I'm gonna do is reach around on the other side with my other hand here and pull this through right there. Again, that's a spot where you may want to use some gloves when you're pushing this seat material through there, because it's just a tight spot for your hands. It kind of bruise up your hands. So we are getting that seat, and I try to get these edges of the cover pushed as far out as I can on both sides like that. Okay. Now for straps and buckles on the back side here, you're gonna have a middle strap called the safety strap. And this one right here is gonna go underneath to a solid spring or bar that's connected to the seat. You wanna make sure that it's a bar that moves with the seat as it moves forward and back. And then it's gonna come back to itself and attach onto this buckle. So we'll actually do that here first. And so what I'll do is I'll reach underneath, and there's these bars underneath your seat that are kind of these curved kind of S-hook type bars underneath your seat that you can attach this onto. Now, if for some reason you can't find the bars underneath your seat, it is not a big deal for you to on this particular truck, you wouldn't have to have this safety strap, because see this cloth underneath the seat right there, and then you have this Velcro that's gonna stick down, and it's gonna give it a nice tight hold. So what we'll do is we'll pull this down and around, stick it on to the carpet underneath here. And then we will, so I already hooked that around to a metal bar underneath the seat. And so what I was saying is, if you are having difficulty finding that solid bar, you could just cut off this safety strap. You could just trim that, you know, with scissors. And then you could just, you know, allow the Velcro to stick to that carpet underneath, and you're gonna be just fine doing that. The safety strap's kind of nice if you have a bar to do it on, because it keeps the cover from ever sliding forward. But again, on this with that Velcro, you're gonna be just fine. Okay, now we're gonna go up to the front again, show you the straps that need to pass through to these buckles on the back. We're gonna take these front straps now and feed these underneath the seat, and they're gonna go back towards those two outside buckles. Now the main thing when you're doing that, these seats are electric, and so what you want to do is raise this seat up as high as it'll go, because that's going to give you as much space underneath the seat to pass these straps and your hands underneath the seat there, so it'll give you more room to work with that. So we'll pass those, and then also when you're passing these underneath, you want to stay above as many electrical cables and cords as you can, so it's not putting pressure on those. And we'll give you another view on the back side as we're finishing that out. The other thing I'll do on this side before I move to the back again is I am gonna take this outside string right here. This needs to pass towards the outside of the seat and go towards the back. Now the other thing that needs to happen here is this has Velcro right here, and that Velcro is gonna stick down to the carpet on the outside right here. So I'm gonna take this string, and I'll do this Velcro here first, and stick that Velcro down right there, and then I'm gonna take this string and pass it around towards the back. Okay, and now we can go to the back side and fasten everything up. So I've passed these two straps from the front to the back now, again staying above any motors and electrical cables underneath the seat, and again hugging the bottom of the seat up here as tight as I could go. And now the other thing I'll do before I strap up those straps and buckles is I'm going to take this string right here, and we'll do this string first, so then it's going to hug the string up to the bottom of the seat. Now what you need to do with this string is you need to take one side right here, you're going to tie a loop in one side like this. You got kind of a noose on one side, right here like that. Okay, so there's your first loop, and then you're gonna take this other string, come across with it and go through it. And now we have a way to kind of cinch it up and control the tightness on it. And what I'll do is I'm gonna pull through on this one right here. Just pull straight back on it. Anytime you're really tightening these, it's better to pull straight back on them rather than at a 90-degree angle, because when you pull at a 90-degree angle, it can run up against metal bars and kind of shear these strings. So best thing again is just pull on it straight back like that, and then we're gonna slowly tighten it and curve it over the side right there. Now what I'll do is pinch these together and tie this off right there like that. Okay, so we've tied that up right there, and now that's gonna stay up tight against the seat, and then when we do these straps, now it's gonna help kind of keep everything snug underneath here. So now it's time to do these straps. So I'll take this buckle, and anytime you're doing these straps and buckles, these buckles have this middle slot right here that you're gonna wanna go through first, and then you're gonna go through the outside slot right there. Okay. So that's good there. And then same thing right here. Middle slot and then the outside slot. Now what we can do is, now that we have those up, we can tighten this up. And one thing that's super helpful is if you have somebody on the front side, or I can do this by myself as well, but it's a little bit trickier. You have somebody on the front side compressing down on the front side of the seat as you tighten these up. That can be very helpful. One way to do it by yourself is take this strap, pass it back through towards the front, and then you can reach underneath the seat. It's a little tighter to do that by yourself, but you can push it through right there, and then I'm gonna go up on the front side, compress down with one hand, and then pull with the other hand and tighten that up. So what I was referring to there was that I've reached underneath and I'm holding onto the buckle with my left hand, or I'm holding onto the strap with my left hand, and I'm gonna compress down on the front side of the seat. Just kind of take out a little bit of the extra material and just kind of compress that cushion down a little bit more so it just snugs a little tighter to that seat cushion. And I'll do the same thing right here. Just compress that seat down. Okay, great. So that front side is snugged up nice and tight there. Seat bottom's looking really nice. Now it's time to move on to the headrest cover. So now we have the front headrest cover. This is the driver's side. And the headrest cover, here's the headrest, here's the headrest cover. The headrest cover here, the front side has this hook Velcro on the front. It's that scratchy Velcro right there. And then the soft Velcro is gonna be towards the back. Okay? So that's how you orient yourself on this set. And this is the front side of the headrest. And so what we'll do is, you need to just compress that down like that on one side, and then you're gonna take the other side, compress that down. Again, you have to just compress the headrest cushion. And I really like to use one thumb, compress that cushion down, and then take the other hand and pull over right there. And I just work that around. Just take it one step at a time. I work that through. Now we're going to take these little bottom caps and come around there. Now the main thing is, you see it's all kind of rotated. It's shifted that way. We need to shift it back around to line it up again. To do that, what I'll do is I'll do this kind of rotation method like this, where I'm shifting the cover, the whole thing. And I do this like that, and then that's gonna shift it back into place where I want it to go. That's looking pretty good right there. I got these sides lined up. I need to go a little bit more. I can even feel kind of the original seams in the seat right there, and we're getting the new seat cover seams really close to them. So I think we're about good on that. So now what we'll do on this is attach the Velcro up right here. You gotta kind of compress that down. Get that on, there we go. Okay, great, and then you're gonna wanna make sure these are pulled in right there. That's looking good. And I can do any final adjustments, kind of moving it around if I need to. But that's looking really nice right there. So there's how the front side should finish out. Here's the side view underneath right there, and the back side like that. So that's looking great. Now it's time just to stick this headrest back into the backrest here. So you have to move the backrest, lean it back a little bit more to get the space to do this. But then you just put those back in, and you depress one of those, or this outside button right there, and that'll push in right there. Now your driver's seat, front driver's seat is all done. Now we're gonna move to the rear seat now. Let's do this. So we're working on the rear seat now. This is a crew cab, and the rear seat is a 60-40 split bench, meaning that there's a 60 section, a large section right here, and then a smaller 40 section. This does not have the center armrest, and it has 3 headrests. So you're gonna wanna look for those details when you're either placing the order or you're talking to us. We'll ask you those questions, what type of seats you have. Now the first step that we're gonna do is we need to remove the headrest covers, because we're gonna do this backrest portion first, this rear backrest portion. So I got that one out. You just gotta depress these buttons here as you're pulling these up, and there you go. You gotta press that side button too, or else it gets too tall for this one to pull out. So we got those headrests out now. Next step is gonna be taking this backrest cover here, okay, and first thing you wanna do is pull this seatbelt out. Really important step. Pull that seatbelt out, and it's gonna go underneath that seatbelt. It's a common mistake for people to start installing it over the seatbelt, but you gotta pull that out right there. Okay? Next, what you're gonna do is start to orient this like this right here, and I'm gonna see if we can do this little trick that I've done on some other videos. See if we can get this back seat released. And I know I can do it on the newer trucks, but let me see if this one has a release. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so this is gonna make your life a lot easier on this install right here. Okay, so you can release this back rest piece forward. And now, Ford didn't design this for the consumer just to like always release this forward, because they didn't put like a pull lever. But this is a little trip lever that if you reach behind your seat and you pull up on that right there, it'll fold this 60 section forward, okay? And then when you wanna line this back up to pop it back in, you're gonna need to take this bar, pop it back down. Usually they might make like a little white mark right there, and if you line that back up, then it'll slide back in as you're pushing it up and lock in, and we'll show you that. But I'm just saying, this install becomes a lot easier when you release that, because then what we can do is just take these straps and pass them down like that. Now your 40 section, the smaller one over here, that it does not release like this one does. So just a little heads up on that, you're still gonna, and these straps will work without releasing it. You can just pass those straps down the back side, but it's just a little tighter to reach for them. Next thing I'm gonna start doing, just to keep this cover from shifting around more right now, is start doing these headrest post sections right there, okay? And those ones I was able just to pop over with my thumbs, but you can use your trim tool like this and pop it around like that, okay? Okay, and that's gonna help keep the cover in place as we move this around a little bit more. Okay, now what we need to do is pass the front side of this through the seat crevice a little bit more so we can get access to these buckles down here on the back side. Okay, I'm starting to get more material. There we go. So now it's popping out right there. You're gonna want to pull that evenly across so you have access to it all. There we go. Now all of our buckles are exposed down here. Okay, and here's our outside strap and buckle. Okay, so we're gonna start with this one. You wanna make sure that you have these lined up correctly. I've done this before where I've done all 6 buckles or however many there are and didn't have them lined up correctly, so I had one that was off and then they're kind of crisscross. You don't want that. You want to just go straight down to the buckle where it's supposed to go right there. Now I'm not gonna get these super tight just at first. I'm just gonna first just kind of slip them in there, and we'll tighten them up a little bit more at the end once I have them all in and everything's looking nice and even. And again, as you're doing these buckles, just like we talked about on the front seats, you want to make sure that you're going through the middle strap or the middle slot first and then the outside slot. I've seen that where people will try to go through the wrong slot and it just doesn't work. Again, that middle slot, then the outside slot. Okay, so now that we have that on, I'm going to check this front. And what I'll do is just kind of make sure that this is forming around the seat how I want it to go. And I got these sides pulled around and kind of smoothed out, and make sure these shoulders, just give it a massage, you know, it's really coming over and just kind of massaging down on this seat and seat cover to get it to conform a little bit better. So now what we'll do is I'm going to take one hand as I push down and massage on the front. I'm going to cinch it up on the back side right here. Massage right here, cinch that up. Now it is possible to over tighten these, and if you over tighten it, you can kind of get a pucker right here. So you just want to try to keep it as smooth and just snug as you can without over tightening. But again, it definitely helps if you take one hand right here and then tighten with the other hand right there. Okay, so that's looking really good right there. Now what we need to do is these outside elastic pieces, okay? So a little tip for you is these originally are designed where you could just take this and tie it off to one of your straps right there, okay? What I like to do though is I like to get both of these elastics tied to each other, and there's not always enough length to do that, okay? So if you want to do that, what you'll do is take a little bit of extra string from one of your driver or passenger bottom seats, cut off a little extra string, and I'm going to tie the string from this one and then tie it off to that one right there. Now, if you don't want to do that step and you don't want them as kind of going straight across and giving that tension right across, you can just tie it off to one of these straps right there, okay? And that would work just fine as well. Okay, so I'm gonna pause there, grab a little extra string, tie those two together. Okay, so I grabbed a little bit of extra string. This was just barely enough. You can grab a little bit more than this. But I've tied it off to one of these elastics right there. Now I'm going to the other side. And I'm just gonna loop this around like that. And then it just gives me a nice way to kind of tighten up that tension right there. And what I'll do now is just come around on that right here and tie that off. Again, the simpler way to do that is you could just tie it off to one of these straps, okay? Now that would be just fine as well. Okay, now that I have that, I'm just gonna check the front, make sure everything's looking good there. It is nice and snug, looking even everywhere. So now the last step with this is just to take these straps and we're just gonna tie a knot in them so they're just not hanging down on the bottom of the floorboard there. Kind of keep things up nice and snug and looking good underneath. As always, feel free to contact us if you have any questions on any of this as you're doing the install. Be happy to help you. Okay, so now that we have those tied up, what we're gonna do is take this and pop it back up. Okay, so I have this lined up with the white dot right there, and that's usually the spot. We'll see if I got it correct again this time. But then what you'll do is you'll bring it up there, and then you just need to give it a good push into that spot to get it to pop in. There we go. Okay, so now it's locked in again. Okay. Again, to release it, you have to bring the seat up like that, so you have space to reach your hand underneath, and then there's that little spot that I showed you, this little nub. It's kind of a metal little nub right there that you just pull up on. You pull up on that, and then it's gonna release that back seat forward. I have another video showing you on that. You can see on our Ford page. Okay, now it's time to do the rear 60 bottom cover, and so I'm gonna go grab that cover and we'll start installing this. Now we're doing this 60 section bottom, and what we'll do is lift it up a little bit like that, and here's the cover right here, and get it over. Now, as much as possible, try to keep this Velcro from sticking down to the carpet while you're pulling this over. And when I did the 40 section bottom, it was very tight. And you just have to work that over there, and it just pulls on top. So it's not a bad cover, but to install, really, you just pull it on top there. Now the 40 section, that one was even a little tighter than this. It just, but it installs the same way. Essentially, you're just pulling it over, and then you're gonna have some Velcro that's gonna connect down to carpet. Okay, so now that I have this oriented how I want it, we need to take this part of the seat cover and push that through right here, down around the seat, around the back side right there. Okay, so I have that one through, and now I need to do the same thing over here. Okay, so we have that pushed through there. Now this Velcro right here, this one is gonna just pull tight down right there and then stick down to the carpet. Like that. Now this is gonna be exposed for these hooks, so you can still use these hooks if you have your seat up and you wanna hang a little bag or different items off of that. Got that open there for you. Okay, good. So that's stuck that down now. And this is open right here for this pull lever to, because that locks it up and you need to pull this to get it back down. Now, the other Velcro that needs to be stuck down is what I put the top part of it that I pushed through the seat. And we're gonna take this and pull as tight as we can, and then it's gonna stick to the carpet underneath here. And that one's a little tricky because it's, you gotta pull on it pretty tight to get it around and to stick onto that carpet. Okay, so, and it can be helpful if you're working it from the front side and giving it as much, pulling out as much slack as possible and rolling that over. And then as you get any of that slack out on the front, you can pull that down and stick it onto the carpet. Down here. Okay, so now I'm getting that stuck onto the carpet. Right there. Okay, great. So that's getting stuck onto the back of the carpet there. Now let's just check the cover up here, make sure everything's looking good. So there's the slot for the seat belt right there. That's looking good. Now the other thing that you're gonna wanna make sure is lined up is you have these child seat attachment bars that if you need to use those are still going to be accessible through those little slots right there. Okay, see those are accessible. If you're not using them right now, then you could, you wouldn't have to pop it over those bars, but that's what those slots are there for. Okay, some people think that's for like a seat belt or something, but those little slots there are for the child seat attachments, so you can still attach that in. Okay, so the rear seat, the rear seat bottom, 6-seat bottom is done now. Now it's time to do the headrest covers. We're working on the headrest. This is the large headrest here, and the front side is going to be this scratchy Velcro, the hook Velcro on the front. Back side is going to be this soft loop Velcro. And the outside of this headrest is going to have this little hole right here for the headrest button right there. And just like we did the front seat, we're going to compress this headrest down as we slide this on here, and we're just going to work it side to side. Some people will install these headrest covers while they're inside the backrest there. I like to do it with them out like this. I just feel like I get a better grip on the headrest, pulling it down, and it gives me a chance to compress the fabric down as I slide it on. Okay, so we're sliding that over there. Okay, so now I need to shift this around a little bit more and get it into position better. We're almost towards, you know, we can see we're still slid too far over that way, so I'm gonna continue to slide it over and adjust that so that it's lined up with that button right here. And then we're gonna pop it around like that. Just making sure that I have it all lined up, nice. And pull that up there. And then we're gonna take this Velcro here and attach these two together like that right there. Okay, so that is how that should look right there. There's the front, there's a side view, the back, and then here's the bottom attached on right there. Okay, and now we can pop that back in here. Okay, so that headrest is done, and then again it's got the space, enough space right there for the cover does, so that if that needs to slide forward, then those headrests can still pop down right there. Okay. Now we're gonna do the middle headrest, which is your small headrest. So we have a small headrest cover for that. Same thing that the scratchy hook Velcro is going to be on the front, soft loop Velcro on the back side here, and we'll do it the same method where we'll take the headrest, compress it down, and pull with the other hand here. Okay, just pulling that around there now, get those bottoms in, and just kind of make sure that's fitting into place how I want it there. And now we can take this Velcro, connect this up, okay, so we have that Velcro connected now there. That's looking great. So there's the front side, the side view, the back there, and here's underneath what it should look like. Okay. So now what we'll do is take this middle headrest and pop it in right there. Okay, perfect. So that completes the install steps on this truck. Good job. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thanks so much for watching this video. Again, this has been Neil here with Covers Camo, your source for custom seat covers. To see more, go to coversandcamo.com. We'd love to give you our recommendations to help you build an awesome set for your vehicle. coversandcamo.com. Thanks.